Okay, I think I'm doing this right. Right, so it is Lent, and hopefully that's not just all finger. It might be. Let's just do that. Let's risk this. Yeah, that's working. Okay, so Lent again, and as ever, I'm doing something different this year. This year, I'm going with what I'm tentatively going to call below the Povertylent. I would like a better name for it. There we go. Right. Yeah. So we're actually 2 days in. We're 10 minutes away from being 3 days in. So it is now 11:50 on the second day, on Thursday. Whatever the Thursday after Ash Wednesday is called. And the plan this time round is I am not eating anything that has cost me over £1 a day. Now, let's work out all the loopholes we're getting around. So basically it comes down to I can have free food. So if food would have been free anyway, so friends who are like, oh, you're not eating, here, have some food, that's not allowed. But if, for instance, so yesterday, the free food that I had was 2 hot chocolates because I went to get my car serviced and I was in the service station for a few hours. Service station, the garage, yeah, the dealer, for a few hours, and therefore I had a couple of hot chocolates, which was from the complimentary machine. And somebody gave me a chewing gum because apparently my breath smelled bad. So that is something that would have happened regardless. So that is allowed. So I did that. Now, what I haven't done and today I didn't have any free food or free anything. What I haven't done for today or yesterday is eaten anything that I've bought. And that is the other rule, is that my money does snowball. So I do have I've got a Google sheet set up. Should you want to track my food, you can go to bit.ly/LBA day. So, £1 a day. And there you'll see me tracking all of my spending and not spending. So I'm not sure at the moment, being that at the moment it's just got 2 hot chocolates and a chewing gum on there, which were free. Whereas now, you may see that I am, in fact, outside the Beckton Tesco Extra. Now, here's the thing. The reason I'm doing this now as opposed to a reasonable time tomorrow is that if where I am shopping is not where I happen to be anyway, then I have to account for the cost of getting to the shopping. So this is the Beckton Tesco. It's on the way home from choir in London, and I have just filled up with petrol. Therefore, I'm going to say in many ways this counts as on the way home. But obviously, if I wait what is now 7 minutes, then that means I will no longer be having £2 that I can use, because once again, this snowballs. I think I've said that already. This snowballs. So if I don't use money on a previous day, it is available for the next day. And so I'm going to have £3. And for my money, literally, I would say £3 is where you can start buying useful amounts of food, I think. I didn't actually research anything before this, but I think that's where I'm going to be able to start buying useful amounts of food. Whereas if I were actually trying to buy £1 worth of food, then that doesn't help me do anything particularly. So the plan now is going to be my bare minimum: rice, lentils, salt. That's, yeah. We assume that cooking is free and that water is free. So that's fine, unless I actually get bottled water. hopefully I won't do that at any point. So yeah, so in theory, if I get this right, then actually I'll have made some boring lentils, but that'll be enough for me to not die for quite a few days, in theory, assuming that I'm right about the price of things. So that's yeah, that is the plan, and we're going to see if that works. Is there anything else that is worth mentioning about this? So what I've not yet worked out is what my challenge day is going to be. I always try to have a challenge day where I do something that's a bit much. I'm thinking challenge day for this is either, or possibly both, of making something for other people. So not just feeding myself, but feeding other people at some point. Probably we're looking at, like, you know, giving people cookies or something like that. But actually, this is the other thing. Actually, well, okay, we'll get back to that. And the other potential challenge is going out for a meal. You know, just going out to a restaurant, maybe just to a McDonald's or whatever, you know, but having enough money to go out and spend that money on one meal, which is probably not normally enough for a day. It'd be interesting to see if I can manage to make that happen. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Now, what was I saying about, oh, okay, yeah, so I'm making food for other people. So here's the other thing. I say lentils, salt, rice. I am aware I cook very little. Like the last time, when was the last time I cooked in earnest, like actual, like normal cooking? I think I made a lasagna last year at some point, which I liked. It was actually pretty decent. I was a fan. But yeah, it's been years since I did chili or lentils or anything like that. And yeah, so this will all be a learning experience for me. I say learning, like a relearning experience for me. What I have done quite a bit more recently is baking, but baking is expensive. You do not want to start with baking. Okay, so the baking I might be able to do is bread, especially if I can work out how to make sourdough bread happen. If I can make sourdough bread happen, then actually you suddenly have no yeast costs, because yeast gets weird and expensive. What does it really? We'll work out what we can do there. Yeah, but in theory, if you do sourdough right, then actually you don't need any costs on top. You just make sourdough happen, because that's all like natural yeast and stuff. I think in practice, actually, I'm going to need a starter of some sort, but we'll see how that goes. If I get around to that. But then if we do that, then we're looking at, okay, now we're making sandwiches, which means I need to have had like butter and stuff like that. So if I'm lucky, the £3 that I get to spend in a couple of minutes, whenever it is, my car's now turned itself off, so I don't know, because I'm using the good camera on my phone, which means I can't see the clock on the phone, because I'm clever like that. So if I'm lucky, then actually I can get my ingredients, those basic ingredients, for under £2, and I might have money left over for things like oil, some vegetables maybe, you know. I mean, if I'm really lucky, I can get like a mirepoix going on, and you know, I've actually got aromatics in there. Spices, God no. Spices maybe like well down the line, once I started building up actual, you know, funds, because they're expensive. And obviously you may have surmised I cannot use what's already at home. Similarly, you know, if there's a family meal going on, I can't take part in a family meal like that, because that would make life far too easy, because that's just, oh, brilliant, just food I don't have to pay for. So no, that's not allowed. I'm not sure about going to a dinner party. Like, I can go to a regular party, take reasonable amounts of food. Similarly, like, should I manage to make it to choir on a Wednesday, in the pub after that, generally they've got a spread out. I can have a reasonable amount of that. And yeah, so, you know, like, once again, what would have been free regardless Dinner party, I'm not so sure about, because I think dinner party, there's kind of a reciprocal thing in there. The theory goes that you're going to also host a dinner party at some point, surely. Maybe, I don't know. I would say I've never been to a dinner party, but actually a couple of weeks ago I did go to a dinner party, which is to say I went round somebody's house for food, which had never happened before. So there we go. Anyway, I'm going to get in there, because I think if it's not midnight already, it very soon will be. And the point is, it will definitely be by the time I purchase, by the time I pay. So, boom.
Approximately 10 hours later.
Welcome back to the kitchen. As you can tell, we've not yet moved out of this house. We've had the for sale sign up for, I'm guessing, a year now, probably more. But it's not happened yet. So there we go. I am still living, therefore, with my dad, which makes life cheaper for me. But does it make it cheaper than trying to live on £1 a day? Anyway, right, so, yes, when I left you, I was about to go buy some food, and buy some food is what I did. There's one bit that actually, that will be a spoiler. So, what I discovered when I was walking around Tesco is that they literally have all of their ingredients in one aisle called ingredients, and the only other things all end up in either they're already things that don't need refrigerators. So they've got their fridges. So the thing about fridges is that fridges generally are for meat. So you've got many aisles of meat. Then you have vegetables. So that's its whole section, but that's generally a smaller section, the meat section. And then you just have this ingredients aisle. Everything else is pre-made, or as I discovered, it is, like the lentils are, world food. Now the thing with lentils is lentils are more expensive than I was hoping, but not, impossibly so. However, if you want to go for the fully, the proper bulk savings on your lentils, you need to get yourself further into the world food aisle. So the world food aisle, at least at this Tesco there's two, but it always works in much the same way. There is the white person friendly part of the world food aisle, where it's like, here's a thing that you think looks like world food. And then there is the native world food aisle, which is, this is the stuff that you remember from home, these are the brands that you remember from home, or these are brands that your community has come to trust that are actually British brands, but nobody with fully British heritage recognises them at all for whatever reason. So, if you get yourself over to that part, that's where you're going to find yourself your massive piles of rice. That's where you're going to find, the rice is also in the lentils. You will, if I'm showing you the video that I took, then you will have seen that already, maybe, or maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, that's where you're going to find your gigantic bags of rice, the kind that you see little old Indian ladies just carrying over their shoulders, if you live in East London, or presumably Leicester, all those no-go areas that we keep hearing about. Anyway, but, if you get a small bag of, dal at that point, then it will not be cheaper than going for the regular people aisle. There is no non-racist way of saying this, but there we go. Tesco is not a racist. However, once you get to the massive bags, then you'll start getting your bulk savings. However, massive bags cost more than £3. So, I couldn't do that. So, what I was left with, I don't know why I didn't do, actually no, I do know why. So, I didn't take any video of the produce section the vegetables and the fruit and veg the fruit and veg section. Oh, that's not a good abbreviation. Anyway, because I find it confusing, I never know where anything is, and it's frankly embarrassing trying to find anything there. But what I did find was that for less than 20p, I can get myself a carrot, an onion, and got each for less than 20p, and a bowl of garlic, which I figure that's money. I was hoping to get broccoli, but broccoli only comes in massive heads, and I feel bad breaking up a head of broccoli. I'm sure it's fine, but there we go. And you know, I'm aware. So, okay, yeah. I'm not going to make a stock for this because I would like my food today because I've not eaten in 2 days. But yeah, were I making stock, then actually the broccoli pays for itself because then you can start using your stem properly. Similarly, you know, I'm going to throw away the skin on this when I chop it, but, you know, were I making a stock, boom, straight in there, have it. But I'm not doing that because, once again, I want my food today, and stock is a many, many hours process. So yeah, so broccoli was out, although good for me, and would add some green beyond the green of the lentils. And then celery, obviously you want a mirepoix, you want your onion, you want your carrot, you want your celery, but at least in the Tesco I went to, they do not sell loose celery, they only sell it in packs. Or once again, in the same situation with broccoli, where it's a whole thing together, so it ends up being too expensive for my needs. Salt was cheap. Do not go brand name on salt. What the hell are you doing? I mean, sure, okay, yeah. If you're gonna go get yourself some Malden or something like that, some fancy decorative salt, then go for it. If you are living on no money a day, then do not go for the fancy decorative salt. You do not need it to be flaky. You do not need it to be pink. Just get the table salt. Oddly, apparently the container thingy, the dispenser of salt, is cheaper than just the bag of salt, which is weird. The bag of rice, however, the really the formless version of it, that is totally the cheapest way to go. But they're doing this thing apparently at Tesco where they're calling it Growers Harvest instead of what it clearly is, which is value. But there we go. Right, so I got that, and I was at, it was like £1.36 or something stupid like that. So I was thinking, actually, you know what? That's going to leave me money left over. But then I thought, no, I need some sort of oil. However, oil is expensive. I mean, if they sold it in small containers, then it might not be expensive. I realise that you're looking at this sunflower. This sunflower oil has been here for months. It is used sunflower oil, I think. I really should throw it away. I should take it down to the tip and get rid of it, but I have not done that. So this is definitely not worth using. No, it's going to be rank. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's too expensive. Once again, if I had held out for longer, then I would be able to get a decent amount of that, but I can't. So I was thinking, well, what can I do? And then I realised, oh wait, butter. And so I checked the butter section. Now, obviously, butter itself is going to be far too expensive. You know, as soon as you involve an animal in the process, it's going to get too expensive, unless you know how to get yourself some offcuts. Possibly more on that later. We'll decide if I want to keep this vegan or not. I'm not a vegan, but I appreciate veganism and vegetarianism, and especially in theory, bang for buck, you should always get more out of vegetables than out of meat. Meat has had to feed an animal before it can feed you, so you will have lost a lot of the goodness in it. If memory serves from biology class, you'll have lost, 90% of your goodness from the original source. Now, there's a lot to be said about whether humans can process it, but you know, either way, you're not getting back that 90%. But actually, there are cheap ways to do meat, so it might be worth looking into later. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, the point was, we need to be going for the vegetable oil type situations, your spreadables and that kind of thing. And in theory, yes, the cheapest oil you can get is a big tub of spreadable, vaguely margarine-y stuff. But once again, that big tub is too expensive. And the thing that you can do is what Tesco calls a baking block. It's a good old block of stalk. Lard might do, but there we go. Once again, lard was actually still too expensive. So this is 75% vegetable fat. So you've got palm oil, you've got rape in there, you've got sunflower in there. And the rest of it is water, salt, and emulsifier and flavoring. I don't expect this to taste great, but it will add the oiliness to it. It is very much saturated fats. It is not the healthy way to go. But once again, well, I don't say once again, but as we know, living on not much money means that you don't necessarily get to live healthy. So you do what you can. Right, so first thing we do, we're going to get our mies firmly on place. So we're going to make sure everything is ready to roll before we start cooking, unless it's something that we're going to do while we start cooking. And so let's start with, don't get myself a crappy knife, because we only have the crappy knives. Yeah, get that IKEA knife. You can tell it's not sharp because of all the chunks that are out of it. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that, but yeah, this is not a good knife. Let's see how it cuts. I'm guessing poorly, and mostly it will be cutting my hand. Right, so once again, not a chef, do not cook, but let's give this a go anyway. Oh, yep, already stabbed myself. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm just going to use the whole onion and the whole carrot because, well, surely they're good for me. How could they not be? Supposedly, well, okay, so I say I'm not a cook and I'm not a chef, and I haven't been cooking in a long time, but I do have, I think 4 cooking channels on my YouTube subscriptions. So, you know, surely I've picked something up. But let's see if we have. Yep. 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 Now, there's a sensible part of me that thinks that what I want to do is do a really thick chop on the onion, so I get big chunks, but what I'm actually doing is pretty skinny chop. So there we go. Once again, this is not good chopping technique. I am not a chef. There we go. Get that last bit in there. You can see we're left the root on, chopping so it's not all the way down, and then cutting across at the end. In theory, that makes it easier. In practice, I am bad at cooking. So at this point, it's just a mess. Ew, that is, yeah. It's slipping away from me. Screw it, I'm doing this way. Nope, that's not working. That. That's all gone weird. Now it's getting into my eyes, as expected. Right. Now, in my eyes. Not gonna try it. Okay. Right, give my carrot a wash. Now they say that you should scrub it, that you should peel it, so on and so forth. But what I'm not going to do is that, but only because I'm lazy. So, ooh. Don't think I need to dry a carrot. That seems like a silly thing to do. I'm going to make it. Am I definitely recording? I am definitely recording. Okay. Is this a sensible way to cut a carrot? I have no idea. Let me know in the comments. Boom. Screw you. Now I'm aware that I'm going to be using this carrot hopefully for like a few days worth of I'll keep chopping. Hopefully for a few days worth of food. See how this goes. I've not thought through this recipe particularly. I mean, obviously a little bit. But I mean, normally I'd be happy to just, you know, eat a bloody carrot. You know, that's a one sitting healthy snack. And by healthy, I mean effectively like eating a sweet. Not a Swede. That's much trickier. But anyway, so yeah, I'm probably getting a lack of nutrition. But that's what we've got the lentils for. Because lentils are clearly a superfood. I was considering, you know, getting some kale, because surely kale. Also spinach, once again, kale, spinach, things like that. They do not come loose in your normal supermarket. They come in big bags, big family-sized bags, which are a very cost-effective way to do it if you have more than £3 for your whole meal. If you do not, then spinach, kale, and the like are out of the question. So don't do that. Right. That's all good. And let's see what I can do with some garlic. So obviously your handy thing with garlic is that it's going to be good for a few meals if you get a bowl. And I have no idea if there's anywhere that sells individual cloves of garlic. Let's hope not. Now, you know what? I'm not seeing anybody today. I'm seeing a lot of people tomorrow. Well, I say a lot of people, a few people tomorrow. But screw it. I'm going for three cloves. Once again, I have no idea what this recipe needs because I am winging it and putting together a few different things and seeing how it goes, because obviously nobody would ever actually make a recipe this sad. I think you can do the same thing with the garlic as with the onion, but yeah, I'm not going to do that. What I am going to try and do, once again, I've been watching too many cookery shows, so I'm going to try and do the whole knife crushing thing. It's probably not going to work. We'll give it a go anyway. See what happens. Somewhat crushy. Give it a bit of a chop as well, why not, for fun. Get them Allisons out there, Allisons. Right. Crushed. And give it a choppy. Mostly so I'm not just eating entire chunks of garlic. Should I end up doing pasta at some point, then that probably means I've decided to incorporate meat. and we'll try doing carbonara. See what happens. But the problem with the carbonara is it doesn't keep particularly well because, you know, vaguely raw egg. So, well, I'll do that. Okay, we have that ready. Now, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? I want to wash my hands because they're covered in garlic. Oh no, I'm getting rid of all the flavour! Flavour! I do not want to know how long it's been since this tea towel was washed. But there we go. Right, next thing I need is to measure this out and measure this out. So I need 250 grams of them. Oh hey, mug. Now normally, what I use a mug for is making Huel cakes. I mean, cakes generally, but I make them out of Huel so I can get more nutrition out of them. Because, you know, Huel's good for you. But, being that I'm not going to be doing that for 46 days, at least, more than that because I used up all my Huel on Tuesday for pancakes, then I'll do this instead. Right, so 250 grams is half a bag. Now I could eyeball it, but we're going to be good about it. I say that. It says cut here. That's clearly not what I'm doing. It might be what I end up doing though, because this does not want to open. Come on! Okay, something's opened. It's just deflated. It may have come out the bottom, I'm not sure. If you know what I mean. Hey, there we go. Good, and open. Oh, that's too far now. Never mind. Boom. That's about 250. And now we will use. Oh, is that how they do it on this one? I think. Yep. The biggest lie in the food industry. The resealable bag is actually just a bag with a bit of tape. But boom, there we go. That is now going to keep it fresh for weeks. Right, well, there's that. Now I only want one portion of rice. This is 75 grams of rice per person, but I am wanting to eat today a whole day's worth. So let's call it yeah, so we'll put in 2 people's worth. Sensible. Now, there's a trick I'm doing here. So we go for do that. So is it 150? Yes, 150 grams. I guess find out if rice is denser than water. Oh no! I'm losing precious rice. Okay. Oh. Ooh. That's about that. Yoink. And boom. Clip it like an adult. Let's get these out of the way. Stuff we no longer want, we're going to leave there. Okay, and actually it's pretty similar to water. So there we go. Right, now, Now, what we're going to do is, oh, hang on a second, I had a recipe that I was using kind of as a reference. This doesn't tell me how much water I need. It's a terrible recipe. Wait. Oh, this one isn't even using water. Okay, we got this. Okay, we got it. Right, so. Interesting. Right. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? I am going to. Am I going to? I think I might be going to. Right. Get the approach to this right. I need. I've got that in the wrong thing. Different one. Boom. Okay. Right. So the plan here is wash the rice, which I normally never do because I'm lazy like that. But in theory, washing the rice will give me starchy water, and starchy water will make for a better broth of sorts. So let's do that. Right. Now, do I want to be really wonky about this? Yeah, sure, why not? Why not is because I can't find my sieve. Oh. Boom. Sieve. Don't drip everywhere. Losing precious rice grains. Precious. Right. Give it a second rinse. Now, supposedly, your first rinse you should not use for cooking because that's going to have pesticides and arsenic and so on and so forth. But once again, I've never rinsed my rice before and I've yet to die. Similarly, I regularly put rice in the fridge. I used to regularly put rice in the fridge back when I was a student. I made my own food, but once again, didn't die. So, the two things you never do with rice: never use the water from the first rinse, never put it in the fridge because it will develop the funkiest sorts of bacteria and worms and so on and so forth. However, that's what I'm doing anyway. So, screw you. Do what I want. You ain't my mother. That'll do. Oh yeah, I now have a mug of cloudy water. It's what we always wanted. That's now good. Right. Oh, I should have done that while I was starting to cook that up. Screw it, we'll do it anyway. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Whew. Right now, do I have a way of measuring the time? Yes, I do. It's that phone. Fuck it. Okay. Right. What I'm going to do is get a pot. I need 2 pots. I mean, if I was being sensible, I could do this in 1 pot. I should do this in 1 pot. I'm not going to do this in 1 pot. Was there something I wanted to fry up? There's something in there that needs frying up. Maybe at the end. See how it goes. Okay. Boo! Selector. Who's our pots? Let's see. That looks like a rice pot. That looks like a lentil pot. Unless it gets too full, in which case I'm in trouble. Right. Do I have a lid for the rice pot? Boom! Lid. Good. Screw it, let's do a lid for that as well. Oh, everybody gets a lid. Fantastic. Right, let's hope these are clean. Okay, so we are going to need to switch our camera's angle. So I'm going to close this drawer so I don't look like a slob of some sort. And shrimp. Move it over. Somebody's sending photos to a Facebook group I'm in. Yeah, that's that. Get a higher angle on that. I can, but then I can't see what I've actually got an angle on. Well done, me. There we go. We'll be using these front ones because otherwise you won't be able to see. Oh wait, there we go. No. Is my phone going to fall in? No. This is perfectly safe. Putting this on the egg hutch thingy. Is it? Can I get it to be useful? No, stop slipping. Damn you, Gorilla Pod. No, don't fall, don't fall. This. I get it further back here. Get it on the windowsill as well. Make it even more precarious. That's done pretty much the same thing. But there we go. Yeah. Okay, I think I've got this. Hopefully it's not going to fall down. Give it a wiggle. It's fine. We're all good. Okay, so that's a big one, that's a small one. So this will be where the lentils go. Boom. What the hell do I do with this? So, boom, we're good. Okay. So this is where things start to go wrong. And that is by... Yes. Right. Matches, that's where it starts to go wrong. Always starts to go wrong with matches. Now, in theory, this stove does have a whole sparky thing which should light it by itself. In practice, no, it does not. You will hear it sparking, but the effects of it will not be apparent. Fire! Ooh. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not a fan of, oh, I should have got out my induction. No, I'm doing more than one pot. I shouldn't get out my induction hob. Induction hob. I bought an induction hob like the day before Maplin closed because they were going for like 20 quid. It probably wasn't worth 20 quid because, you know, Maplin. But anyway, so if I do something in one pot or that I'm not doing stuff at the same time, then boom, I'm going to be all over that. But I'm not. So, right, first things first. Shoot the whoop. We'll get my oil in there, which, as we know, is actually not oil at all. Why it smells buttery is beyond me and is kind of a worry. But anyway, there we go. Why does it taste buttery? That's a strong word for what it tastes like. Anyway. So, supposedly, what I need to do now is get my big veg in there. Oh, mate, this feels like a lot now. This feels like too small a pan. But there we go. Boom, boom, boom. Maybe this will be a reasonable amount of food for me. Oh yeah, if these lentils get big, then I have not got nearly enough room in this pan. This is gonna get fun. Lovely. Do not put the garlic in yet. We let this soften up first. Or get clear, or whatever it is that these things do. That was the random drawer crap that you may have just seen. You may notice that I am not looking good for TV, and that is because I haven't had a shower yet. Because generally the way my day goes is that I will eat, then have a shower, then brush my teeth, because it's very important, extremely important, to allow the acids to get off your teeth before you brush them. Or so I hear from the internet. So I do that. Make sure I've got a good, at least half an hour, hopefully an hour between the two. So leave that for a little bit, at which point I can start on my rice. So, similar sort of situation, but this time it does work. Boom. Love me some of that. Oh, this is going to get weird because I just realised normally I boil a kettle to make this happen, but I'm not going to be doing that because I'm using my fun water. So maybe I should have boiled the water first. We'll see how it goes. And this is how I make rice. Oh wait, no, I can boil it. Yes, because that's not the water that I'm using for that. We're all good, we're all good. Okay. Plonk this in. Yeah. Normally I would do this with butter because, you know, flavour. But I'm doing it with baking fat because I'm going to hate life. So, so much so that I am eating it raw off my finger from where I've been doing that. Okay. Letting that happen. Okay. And obviously use the same spoon for everything. That hasn't actually fully melted yet, but hopefully it'll sort itself out. So what I do here is I give it a weird little fry first, is what I do with the rice. Oh yeah. And salt it. I heard somebody think it was weird that I was salting rice. You're weird. Put salt in your bloody rice. Probably one of these people who doesn't put salt in their pasta. Put salt in your pasta. Nobody wants unflavoured pasta. I mean, really, just put salt in everything. Everything needs salt. There's never enough salt. Salt gets a bad rap about how it's, oh, you know, your heart disease, No, you won't. I mean, you will. Okay, look, if you use too much salt, absolutely, then yes, heart disease akimbo. However, you're not going to. There we go. You'll be fine. What's actually much more dangerous than too much salt is a lack of salt. Oh, hey. Why is there so much water in this? Okay. Boom. Now, what I don't know is how much salt I should be putting in things. I'm aware that with pasta, it's the whole you want sea salt to be cooking your pasta in, because it's mostly going to get washed out. The difference is, of course, that with rice, it's not. Because if you are draining your water after you've made your rice, you have made your rice wrong. Screw you. I saw an article, so I was looking up. Oh, okay. I'm going to wait for that to stop boiling. Oh, that's starting to stick. Don't get me wrong, starting to stick is a good thing. So traditionally what I do is I put in enough water to cover the rice until you just about can't see it. However, I was watching an episode of What's Eating Dan about how to cook rice, and apparently what you need is as much water as you have rice plus 1 cup. It doesn't matter how much you had initially, it is always plus 1 cup. No matter how much rice you're making, it is plus 1. That is tasty water. Okay. It is plus 1 cup. So, what we do here is we wait for it to boil, which won't take too long because obviously I put boiling water in. Well done, me. And then we take it down to, as close to a simmer as we can, which is there anyway. And boom, that goes on. I'm going to give that 20 minutes. It is currently 12:43. Hopefully I am going to remember that 103 is my sweet spot. Right, what am I doing with this lot? This lot I am adding lentils to, because that's what we're here for. So, give it a final little stir. It's somewhat clear at the bottom, should be fine. Why not? I'm sure I won't die. Oh. Get that garlic in there. Get more salt in there, because that's the only seasoning I got. Boom, boom, boom. That's all in there. And now, chuck in my lentils. And my fancy water. Fancy water. Okay, that is no longer simmering. And let's just see what that does. Now, if I were just straight cooking the lentils by themselves, according to the pack, if I can do it, okay, it says boil for 10 minutes. Interesting. And then reduce to heat to low and simmer for 30 minutes. Let's do that then. In that case, I did this rice far too early. But there we go. I mean, I'm going to start counting my 10 minutes now. So let's say it's... Okay, 5 past. 5 past is when everything is happening, is at 5 past. Come on, you bastard. Why won't you boil when I watch you? So yeah, I'm going to be destroying the vegetables in this because, you know, I have no respect for food. Probably should have done the 10-minute boil separately in a different pan. You know, see how that goes. I'm here. Can we see what's in there? Yeah, we can see what's in there. That's all good. Come on. Oh, have I got a light I can turn on in here? No, apparently the light is on. Oh, that's a lie. Or maybe it requires me to turn the fan on. Nope, just doesn't work. Never mind. Okay, maybe I should turn the fan on anyway, but what I'm going to do is the lazy way and open the window. That way, because the window is directly behind the phone, then all you're going to get is steam coming up towards the lens and the noise of outside. You're welcome. I'm going to close the door. Ooh, I could be doing my laundry. Clever me. Okay, I've got time. Okay, well that's boiling. Yeah, maybe let less of that evaporate. I need more water. Luckily, I have a bunch of hot water here. Okay, this needs another 4 minutes, and then I can put it on simmer and lid it up. Not gonna lie, this rice is looking a lot like it's done from here, but overcooking rice is a good thing because it means that we may get some burnt edges on it. And burnt edges are the best thing in rice. We know this. Is one of the things my family has learnt from my dear departed mom is you burn your rice and good things happen. Also that you put lemon on it, but we can't afford lemon, so there we go. Lemons for rich folk. This doesn't need to be boiling quite that much. Now, regarding the rice water trick, so obviously the inspiration for that was actually from pasta water, which they always say, you know, when you drain your pasta water, don't throw it down the sink, hold on to it, use it for sauces, it will thicken it up nicely. But looking around, it seems that there is a vocal contingent of people on Quora, you know, where you go to ask your questions if you're bad at Googling, who seem to think that actually rice isn't nearly starchy enough and you won't get anything useful out of it. Who knows? Presumably then. 2 more minutes. I mean, this is already very low down, so what turning it down is going to do, I don't know. Once again, I dislike cooking on fire. It's far too hot. So this supposedly, per 100 grams, and you'll remember there's 250 grams in here, has, what have we got in there? 176 calories. Oh, that's not enough. Whereas rice per 100 grams, and we've got 150 grams there, is 153. Oh, I am going to get sod all calories. Fun times! Actually, no, once we got... okay, we'll work this out. It'll be fine. And I'm putting fat in there. Fat's away your calories. It'll be fine. Okay. This now goes down. Give that a stir. Shunt, 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 like so. You know what? I'm going to give it a bit more water. Well, that's all the water I had. Sure, I could fill it up again, but who's got time for that? Instead, I'll put a lid on it and let it steam itself. It's fine, it's fine. This needs another 10 minutes. Maybe less. I mean, it's definitely looking pretty dry so far. So, let's see how that goes. I've got a feeling that for whatever reason, it decided to not be even because there's like a shiny bit on the side. But we'll see how that goes. I may have made terrible rice. This is entirely within my wheelhouse. Wait, what do I need half an hour that one? So that's going up to 25. This one's going not past 5 past. So All good. I feel like there was something I was going to say about the rice. Oh yeah, okay, so I don't think I managed to mention, I think this is what I didn't get to talk about while it was boiling. So yeah, I was looking up if using rice water is a thing. This is where I found out about the whole first wash thing. But one of the websites I found was the Sun. The Sun, of course, is a British newspaper. And now, British people do know how to cook rice. You know, we've had enough interaction with the colonies to have learnt how to do that much. However, traditional British people who are bad at things will boil the hell out of their rice and then drain it as if it were pasta, which once again, you shouldn't be draining pasta like that, but anyway, never mind. And so what the Sun article suggested was that what you want is the water after you drain your pasta. Now, of course, after you drain your rice, sorry. Now, of course, if you don't hate your rice, then you don't need to drain it because your rice will no longer have any water in it anyway when it's done cooking. In Spanish, or at least in Colombia, or at least in my household, you do not say cooking rice, you say drying rice. Because that's what you're doing. You're cooking it until it's dry, it sorts itself out. Oh, laundry's done. I say laundry's done. It's our washing machine has this problem where it has a flow error normally after about 5 minutes. So you just stop it and start it again and it's fine. But anyway, yeah, so the point is that what I'm guessing happened with the Sun article is that they half read an article somewhere about using rice water, turned it into their own original research, and somewhere along the way assume that, you know, surely what they mean is not washing the rice in that water, but cooking the rice in that water, because, you know, idiots. So obviously I'm not going to judge you personally. If you like a boiled rice, then that's your prerogative. I will not yuck your yum, but saying that, yuck. I mean, here I am using baking fat for oil, so, you know, I can't complain. Okay, this mostly smells like carrots. So, I want it smelling like lentils, damn it. Right, let's start putting stuff away, and by putting stuff away, I mean putting my fat away. You have to pay your fat away. Okay, a few more minutes on the rice, and that's good. Good. Cleaning my workstation, gonna get everything clean on my workstation. Okay. I don't think anyone would notice that these mugs have been used. It's just a bit starchy, it's still good. The matches away so I don't burn anything down. Okay, what else do we need? That's it. Right, so assuming that I don't need to do anything more, then I still have half a bag of lentils, over half a bowl of garlic, and the majority of a bag of rice. Now, in theory, the bag of rice is going to get used more often because this is one portion of rice, but hopefully this is more than one portion of lentils. We'll see how that goes for me. And obviously an effectively full potter's tub thingy of salt. What does it say? Does this say what it is? No, it doesn't say it is. It's salt and anti-cakey agents, that's what it is, and it's suitable for vegans. Because vegans are anti-cake. Should get a plate out. Or should I? Okay. Right, so there is the question of, do I want to stir fry this when I'm done? I'm going to say no. This time around I'm going to say no. For the next time round, maybe yes. We'll see how it goes. The problem I have in the kitchen is I don't trust anyone else to clean my dishes. I don't know if it's because I clean them better, if it's because I just don't notice when I make mistakes and leave stuff on there. Like, people tell me that I'm weird for normally not bothering to wash dishes in hot water. I do it if I've got like chocolate or grease on there or something that it'll be beneficial to melt it off. But normally, if it's going to come off easily enough, then just use water. There's nothing wrong with that. Water and soap, obviously. But yeah, despite all that, I always find that other people are just bad at getting the rice on there. Oh balls! Why did I put the wooden? Oh wait, did I? No, I did not. Boom! I did not fill that with water. We're all good. Did I just eat a bit of garlic? I may have just eaten a bit of garlic. That was silly. Yep, that is flavoursome. Okay, screw it. I'm saying this rice is done. Done-zo. Yeah, that looks done. Oh, that's what the colourful bits were. Bits of onion in there. Brilliant. This is the added benefit of using the same spoon for everything. And yeah, I think we got a bit of fun on there. Let's see what happens if I just try and tip this out onto the plate. Is it too much? Oh yeah, that's good and stuck in there. Let's try this again. Oh, there's a bit of crackle on there. Woo. Oh yeah. That at the bottom there, good and scrapey. Can we see that? Yeah, like a lamb's brain. We're gonna, yeah. Now you can see what's coming out of there is not black and burnt. It is golden and lovely. So hopefully that's going to be flavour. I'm going to leave this here. Now this is normally a lot more rice than I would use. I'm the kind of person that wants far. Is that good? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'm the kind of person that wants far more meat, in the traditional sense of the word, than rice. However, today we are very poor, and therefore we bulk up. We are here to get calories into ourselves as best we can. See, it's the thing, in theory, lentils are great because you've got lots of nutrients, not a lot of calories. However, you do still need calories. You need calories to function. So, yeah. Get you a big pile of sugar. Now, obviously, the sensible thing to do would have been to get brown rice, But brown rice is not nearly as cheap as white rice. So for the moment, we're on the white rice. Hopefully, I'm gonna be able to manage my funds effectively and start using better ingredients. Once again, we'll start adding in some proper vegetables, and hopefully start going for the bigger bags of lentils. Or, I mean, if I'm getting really fancy with it, what I'll end up doing is getting chickpeas instead of lentils. Now the problem with chickpeas is they're not nearly as tasty as lentils, but they are going to allow me to make aquafaba. And if I make aquafaba, then I'll be able to make meringues without using eggs, at which point cakes become an option. So that'll be interesting if I bother doing that. Actually, it turns out eggs aren't that expensive these days, and pretty much certainly all the British supermarkets, their cheap eggs are free range. So, you know, once again, there's still a question of, am I going to bother trying to make this fully vegan? Honestly, maybe just vegan to start off with, see how it goes. But I don't know. I'm going to munch away on this. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is how you know if you've done good rice. Is, are you willing to just eat it as is? Aziz, light. Is his name Aziz? I think his name's Aziz. On that. Did I say? Yeah, it must be 25 past. Do I want to give this a stir? Woo! Oh, it's filling up. Okay, there's still plenty of water in there. Still good. Although what that does suggest is that the whole starch situation hasn't helped at all. So, fine. Leave it at that. I have no idea if this is tasting good because I am not a good chef. Hey, that's a bit dark, doesn't that in there? I'll tell you what. Let's get that bit of onion off there. I mean, those bits aren't terrible. Okay, I think I've got enough time to watch cookery show on YouTube. Let's do that.
And then a 1, a 2. How do you do? Welcome to Mythical Kitchen, where dreams become food. Today we're making the chili dog upside down cake.
Cool. That is time. So, yeah, I watched Good Mythical Morning for years, but always as a recommended video thing. Never bothered subscribing to it because it's got too much miss. There's too many things I can't be asked to watch. Same thing happens with, for instance, What's Eating Dan, where there's the rest of Cooks Illustrated, America's Test Kitchen, whatever it's called, isn't as good. It's all very infomercially, and it's not nearly as interesting. I would like What's Eating Dan to have its own channel, but it doesn't. This is why I always do things on separate channels. You know, I have this channel for random crap, which isn't good, and then other channels for all my other endeavors, so that people that like the other endeavors don't have to put up with the stuff they don't like. But then Good Mythical Morning created Mythical Kitchen, and that is always good fun. So yeah, and yeah, I mean, a lot of it feels like it's taking from like Worth It and so on and so forth, but you know, nobody cares if you steal from BuzzFeed. You know, they won't do anything original anyway. Okay, so this should be done in theory. Yeah. That's too hot, but also, oh yeah, no, that's fine. We are good. Is that still watery at the bottom? No, that is good and dry throughout. And the top is feeling good. So actually, boom. Let's make this happen. So whoop, that's now off. And this is now going on top of here, doing some fantastic plating here. And let's see this. I feel like I've gotten too much of the veg on here. I don't want to leave none of the veg on here. Okay. Right, we'll leave that to cool down in the pan so I can put it in the fridge later. Hammer off that. Right. Oh, right, so it's back where we were. Let's back on here. Right, so the most important thing about making legumes generally is that they will be insanely hot. So do not eat them immediately. And also they will just keep for like, I always used to make like week-long batches of chili, and yeah, I would make them at like in the evening, like at night, finish making them at midnight, at 1 in the morning, whenever it was, because you know it takes a long time to make chili. I mean, it wasn't good chili in the first place, but still, it takes a long time to make it. And then in the morning, still hot, because it just holds on to all that heat. So there we go. Right, I'm going to close this window. I realise it's probably still steamy in here, but I've gotten used to it apparently. So there we go. And it's getting cold, so I don't want to do that. Let's wash some dishes while I'm waiting. I realised that I complained about those dishes not being clean, but also I'm lazy, and it wasn't me that cleaned them, so you know. Somebody else will get to work that out. Me being lazy, I never take the utensils out of there. I don't know who does. Presumably my brother or my dad. Mostly my dad, because you know my brother doesn't always live here. So there we go. Nothing greasy, so I'm going to leave that. I shudder to think when the last time this sponge was changed. I mean, it's not destroyed, so probably not that long ago. If I'm being sensible, then what I do is chuck it in the microwave for 2 minutes. But lazy! I keep saying this. People keep not believing how lazy I am. But I am very lazy. I'm pretty sure with a wooden board you're not supposed to actually sponge it down like this. You just do it with a wet cloth. But it seems like far too much effort is a wet cloth. So that's not what I'm going to do. So Get that. Dry it off. Still got some rice in there. Sieves are like the weirdest things to clean. You're never going to get it clean, just give up. It's fine. But you're also never going to get the soap out of it. Also, just give up. It's fine. If you look like you're most of the way there, it's probably alright. Oh yeah, there's definitely still stuff in there. God, I hate sieves. And sponge away from the blade, you don't want to cut your sponge or your hand. Once again, wooden spoons, I never feel like a wooden spoon is cleaned. That's why your wooden spoons always end up this brown colour as opposed to something lighter than that brown colour which they started as. So, you probably can't see that from over here. 4K baby. Okay. And, well, this is going to be oniony. Sort of very bad cleaning. Anyway. Here we go, come on. I mean, we do have a bottle brush, but in theory that's for bottles. That said, I broke my bottle, so no, it's for anything. I'm not going to use it because, you know, effort. But still, we have the tool, that's what matters. It is a well-equipped kitchen. It's not a well-equipped kitchen, it's a terribly equipped kitchen, but there we go. Always store your sharp knives down so that they don't fall over and stab people. Actually, they're probably more likely to fall over and stab people because they've got a head. No, never mind. If you've got a balance knife, which won't, which will balance. Yeah, why not? I was going to scour the bottom of a non-stick pan because I'm bad at life. Boom, 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 boom. That'll do. It's rice. That's still hot. Do I want to do it out? No, I don't. Is this a fork or a spoon job? Let's say fork. Right. So, my first solid food in 3 days. Let's make this happen. Yeah, that is. I mean, it's very carrot and onion forward, but it's lentil as well. Got some nice crunchy salty rice in there. This is not a bad way to be. Definitely needs to do something about that carrot though. Far too much carrot. But the carrot's good for me. And you know, at the end of the day, when you're doing this, nutrition, that's what you got to care about. I think I probably mentioned it last night, because I always do, but the thing that people keep saying to me is, oh, you want to do instant noodles, you want to do like McDonald's £1 menu, things like that. You don't. These are very inefficient ways to get your calories. Well, okay, they're efficient ways to get your calories, potentially. Inefficient ways to get your nutrients. There's nothing in there. All very empty nutrients. All that rice is starting getting cold. Okay. So when I do this again tomorrow, stir fry it. I don't know if I'm going to do it again tomorrow. I'll see you guys. I probably should. But yeah, very inefficient way to get your calories. Yes, you can get a 30p pack of instant noodles, but your nutrients in the instant noodles are in the flavour packet. Now, it may be that actually, if you want to get spices, it's a reasonably cheap way to get spices. Obviously not as cheap as actually buying the spices in bulk, but once again, spices are expensive. They will cost you at least £1 for a pot. So, in these situations, you have to be judicious about which ones you get and when. If you do need some spices, some flavour now, then yeah, actually, swapping out the rice for instant noodles, using your spice pack from the instant noodles, might not be the worst plan in the world. Chuck on some veg. As we've seen, individual veg, if any veg that you can get individually, comes out pretty cheap. You know, I could have got courgette. I could have got a leek. I could have got all sorts of things. But we went for the easy things we know and love. Probably should have used a spoon. Definitely not chopsticks. This will not hold up to chopsticks. Which is weird because I think Japanese, Chinese people, everyone else who would use chopsticks for rice, I think they still wash their rice, yet somehow the rice still ends up sticky. Which is interesting. So maybe the starch is inside the rice and gets let out by the cooking process, I don't know. Or maybe they only wash it when they're doing loose rice, I don't know. Will I end up making sushi this month? I mean, I've never made sushi before, but you never know. In sushi on a pan a day seems like a valiant target. Valiant seems like the wrong word. There's some cold rice. I'm getting pretty full, not gonna lie. That was a lot. Which hopefully means it will do me for at least a day, if not two. Now, for people who are unaware, generally, though I didn't do this for last Lent because of the nature of fuel, generally I eat once a day. And so eating this much in one go, this is normal for me. Especially if I've not eaten for 2 days. Screw you. I can do what I want. Yeah. All those crunchy bits work well. While I'm here. Now, we call this below the poverty line, potentially, on the understanding that I am still benefiting from a lot of privilege, from a lot of, from a lot of advantages. I didn't have to buy any of the equipment. I am pretending that energy is free. I'm pretending that water is free. These are things that you do have to pay for. I am in a house. We're assuming that the house is free, you know. These are things that are not true for everybody. Or mostly anybody if you're an adult. These are costs that have happened outside of the food. So, in no way am I actually leading a properly impoverished lifestyle. And obviously, I have a job where when I'm at work, I get free nibbles, I get free hot chocolates, things like that. Calories are happening there, nutrition is happening there, up to a point. I mean, yeah, it's cookies and Skittles, but better than nothing. Debatable, but yeah, you know. That said, equally, I'm trying not to rely on anything that would be either handouts or normally in exchange for something. So, for instance, I did sign up for Olio, but I don't think I'm going to use it because really there's an assumption with Olio that you are going to give back to the system. At which point, you know, you're effectively paying for stuff, so that doesn't really work for me. Similarly, I'm not going to go to like food banks and things like that because they're for people that actually need them. I don't actually need them. So we're going to work out how to do that this way round. Obviously, if you can make use of those things, then do make use of those things. What I'd be interested to know though is what kind of stuff you find in the food banks. How much of it is the kind of fresh produce that you can make the most out of and then you can get a lot of mileage out of? And how much of it is branded, pre-packaged, pre-produced stuff that actually you're not getting nearly as much out of, and potentially you're losing a lot of the benefit of it. A lot of the efficiency, if you will. Well, obviously, cooking takes time. So, you know, if you don't have 45 minutes to spend making something like this, then you don't have 45 minutes to spend making something like this. Time is also valuable, and you need to take that into account. Here you go. This is the other reason I needed a spoon, maybe a knife. Because the last dregs, it's always the worst bit. Or food like this. There's maybe a big reason why people eat meat. Because you don't end up with dregs. Well, it's like worst steak or something. And there's another thing. Should you be thinking, you know, I should really go vegan for the environment, so on and so forth. And maybe all you need to do, just stop eating steak. You know, stop eating cuts of meat. Because if you go for like your ground meat, your mincemeat if you will, and your sausage and things like that, then actually you're not eating. Like, okay, don't get yourself like the steak. Well, actually, even then, steak mince is fine because they're not using the great cuts for it. They're using the shitty cuts that don't look good but still taste fine. And so at least you're using kind of byproducts. It's kind of like the argument for, you know, we'll still allow leather because we're using it from cows that are being killed or for other reasons, or that died for other reasons or whatever. Assuming that's true. But yeah, you can at least lower your impact massively by not doing that. So, well, if you get yourself into the whole trash meat game, oh, you can do a lot with that. And you know, because this is a big thing for people who do want to be vegan, is how do you get your B12? How do you get your nutrients that would normally just be in there? Now, I did look at using Marmite, but Marmite is expensive. Like, get a tub of it. Even like the Tesco brand tiny tub, that was still like £1.50, which for just adding flavour and B12 seems a bit much. And yeah, obviously, Marmite is a fantastic thing for adding flavour to your meals. Well, so I'm told. I've never used it, but the theory is sound. You know, you get all that umami, as well as all the nutrients that you get from yeast extract. So that's good. Right. Ooh. And then the last of our washing up. Let's finish this up here. I have no idea if that camera's positioned usefully. There's a greasy plate. It's almost as if I put lots of fatty things in there. Go me. I'm not even sure if I'm full. I mean, I know I said halfway through that I was feeling full. Certainly my stomach's doing something. I think it may just be that because my stomach's had nothing in it for 2 days, that it's now just very confused. Because it's now got far too much in it. Okay, so everything on this one is actually on the wrong side, which suggests that actually just nobody's been cleaning both sides of the pan. The pan or the lid? This is a lid, by the way, in case you're confused. 4K. Right. Oh no, wait, that is the underside of the pan. That is just stuck on hard. Like me with every computer game I've ever played. Boom. Oh wait, no. That's what she said. Or title of the sex. Look, they all work. Everything works. I went for something original first, and then got. Okay, not progressively less. I went for as unoriginal as possible, and then slightly less unoriginal, but still very unoriginal. Master of comedy that I am. Alright. Boom. There we go. We will check the rest of the pot of lentils to see. Oh, that is still warm. It is still warm. My hand is still wet. So I am going to decant that when I finish my laundry, which is in 1 hour and 9 minutes. So there we go. I'm not going to show you that. Instead, I'm going to say, I'm going to say thank you for watching. You've brought this on yourself. Goodbye.